be from a non-CSE background. Okay, so when you are from a non-CSE background, then I know very well that it is quite tough for you to understand the deep level of data structures and algorithms. You have not, you did not have enough time actually in your curriculum, because you are a non-CSE background, so you have to concentrate on your own core also. So I know very well that you have not, you do not have enough time to concentrate on data structures and algorithms, everything. And I will make sure that I will make every session very clearly. Okay, and I will try to make every session to the point and make everything simple. Okay, fine. We will be starting first of all with recursion. I will tell you how recursion is going to work, so that any input is, any recursive code is provided, you will now learn, you will now understand. Okay, now you will understand how to deal with that. Okay, how to deal with it. Fine. I'll just take a board actually. I'll take a whiteboard, online whiteboard. Just a minute. Okay, fine. So here we are going to just simply go with, it's going to be Capgemini. Okay, Capgemini training. Yeah, fine. Now, coming to a recursion, I will take a very simple recursive code and I will teach you how it is going to work. Okay, the simple recursive code is a function with return type integer. The name of the function is func, followed by a parenthesis. Inside parenthesis, we are going to provide a parameter called as n. Inside the recursive function, I will be placing if n greater than 0, n greater than 0, if n greater than 0, fun of, I'll take the return type not as integer, I'll take the return type as void. What I will do is, I will do printf %d, comma, I'll have a space also, %d, comma, n. First line. Second line, I will call the same function again by passing n minus 1. I will do one more printf, taking %d, comma, n. Again, I have to do a space. Okay, so 2 times I'm printing the value of n. One is before the recursive call, and the other one is after the recursive call. So if n is greater than 0, I'm performing these 3 things. Okay, fine. So what is generally a recursion? Recursion means when a function is getting called inside the definition of the own function, it is called as recursion. I will make it again. Okay, I will just make it clear again. What is recursion? Recursion is calling the function inside the same function. You're calling func inside func. So when you call a function inside the same function, then it is called as recursion, because you will come here into the function. When the same function is again called, you go up, again you start, again you just call the same function. So this will repeat. Okay, so because of this call, the process will keep on it will keep on repeat. So it will recurse. So this is what called as recursion. Recursion means calling the same function inside the function inside the same function. Okay, so what is recursion? Generally, repeating the same process is what the work of a recursion. Okay, now how does our recursion work? Okay, before how recursion works, let me also take main function, integer main function. Inside main function, I'm going to take a variable n equal to 3, and I'm going to call the function func and pass the value of n. Okay, and let me close this. I think better I will take the name here as a. Okay, I'll take the better name as a. Okay, fine. So what we are doing in the main function a, we are taking a variable a assigning the value 3 to it. And after assigning a value 3 to A, we are calling the function func by passing the value of A. Okay, and this func is performing a recursive. So I will just teach you now how it is going to work, line by line, how it is going to work, how any recursion will be working. Okay, fine. So what I would suggest you is that, first of all, I'm going to take the main memory part of your computer, because whenever a program is executed, the program will be executed inside the RAM, random access memory, also called as main memory of, it is called as main memory part of your CPU. Okay, it's called as main memory part of the CPU. Okay, fine. So coming to your main memory is actually divided into 3 parts. Part number 1, part number 2, and part number 3. Totally 3 parts are available. Coming to part 1 is actually used for heap memory. It is actually used for heap memory. It is called as heap memory. The middle part is actually called as stack memory. I'll tell you, this is stack memory. And this bottom part is actually called as code section. Code section. See, usually this part is what called as heap memory. This part has to be called a stack, but for better representation, I have done this originally, but inside the architecture, this is the heap memory, this is stack. But I have just exchanged the position to make you understand little better way. Okay, fine. Now, this is the architecture of main memory, and I will tell you, again, stack memory, what is code section, and when it will be used, in which kind of scenario these 3 things will be used. But before that, what I want to tell you is that whenever a program that you're writing, if you want to execute it, if you want to execute a program, first of all, you need to compile a program, .c. Coming to C programming, whenever a program is given, the program have to be compiled. Okay, the program have to be compiled. How the program, see, what will happen when a program is compiled? When a program is compiled, the program automatically will be converted into zeros and ones. I'll tell you, your entire program will be converted to zeros and ones. Okay, why it is converted to zeros and ones? Because CPU understands only zeros and ones. So it does not understand English, whereas the C programming language or any programming language is using English language. But computer does not understand this English language. So I need to convert these things into zeros and ones, which is taken care by the compiler. And after converting the given code into a compiler, converting it into a zeros and ones, and this zeros and ones are saved in a file, and that file is called as .exe file. What is .exe? .exe means executable file. So all your code is converted to zeros and ones, and these zeros and ones are packed inside a .exe file. What is .exe? Executable. Why it is called as .executable? Because this is completely having ones and zeros, which can be understood directly by the CPU, and such that this file can be directly executed by the CPU. So they are directly executable by the CPU. That is why we call it as .exe or .executable file. It is now, see, when you are having this code, this is not directly executable. This is not executable. When you convert it into zeros and ones only, it becomes an executable file. Okay, this cannot be executed, but this can be executed. So that is why the reason we are calling it as .exe. And when you start your program, when you start executing your program, your zeros and one file, .exe file is available, right? That .exe file will be taken. The .exe file will be taken and it will be stored inside. It will be copied to code section of your main memory. So whatever program that you are writing, that programs will be converted to zeros and ones. And this zeros and ones will be, when you are trying to execute, these zeros and ones will be taken and it will be copied to code section. So code section is meant for storing the code that we are going to execute. So this is the code that we are going to execute. So that code I have copied it to the code section of main memory. And after taking this to code section, now the process have to start. Where the process will be starting, the entry point of any program that you write in C will be your main function. This is the entry gate. This is the entry gate for any program that you are writing. So main function will be the entry gate. Main function will be the entry gate for any program. So I will tell you that main is a function. func is also a function. Whenever a function is getting created, okay, wait, I'll tell you. Whenever a function is called, okay, whenever a function is getting called, there is something called as activation record which will be created inside your stack memory. And now by default your compiler will be calling this main function. So the first invoking function is main function. So when a main function is called automatically by the compiler, instead of main function there is something called as activation record which will be created. What is this activation record? I'll just spell this. It is called as activation record, or otherwise activation area. Okay, what is this activation record? Why it is required? This activation record is like a room in a house. If you take a house, your house will have several rooms, and this activation record is like a room in a house. Okay, I create a room here for main function. What are all the variables available inside this main function? For all the variables, we need to allocate memory. Am I right? Whatever variables are available inside any function, these variables will require some memory. It will require some memory to be allocated. So the memory for the variable A will be allocated inside the activation record. It will be created inside the activation record that I created for main function. So after your main function is started, so after your main function is called, activation record for main function is created, and inside that one memory block is created, and the name of that memory block is what called as A. And what is the data that you are storing in A? You are storing 3. So let me take data 3 and store it here in the block, memory block that we allocated inside the activation record of main function. Now I will tell you, I know very well that when a function is getting called, activation record will be created. When will that activation record gets deleted? When the function getting called activation record gets created, when you look at when you meet the close curly braces, when you meet the close curly braces of a function, the activation record will get deleted. So once you execute the close curly braces of some function, then the activation record of that respective function will be definitely completely, it will be deleted. Okay, fine. Now I have executed line number 1. I have executed line number 1 in main function. Now what is line number 2? Line number 2 is calling the function func. If I call this function func, if all this, see my control will automatically will be taken from here. From this second line, my control will automatically go here to the function because you're calling the function. So after I complete all these lines, and again if I come back only, I will be meeting this, I will be executing this close curly braces of main. So until now I have not executed the close curly braces of main, which means the activation record that I created for the main function cannot be deleted at the point of time. So before deleting the activation record of main, I am calling one more function which is called as func. I made it very clear that whenever a function is called, activation record will be created inside a stack memory. But already there is an activation record which I have so far not deleted. Before that I'm calling, before deleting an activation record, I'm calling one more function. What can I do? Don't delete it. Create one more activation record on top of the existing activation record. So you created one more activation record on top of the existing activation record. And now the activation record that you're creating, is actually for the function func. For calling func function only, this activation record for func is called. And what is the parameter that I'm passing for func? Value of a. What is the value of a? 3. So while I'm calling the function func, I am passing the data 3. I'm passing the data 3 here. Now, after passing the data 3, now what will happen? Inside this function block, there is one variable called as n. So the memory block for this variable n have to be created inside the activation area of func. So let us create a memory block inside func activation area, and the name of the memory block is going to be n, and the value that we are going to store inside this memory block n is going to be 3, which is the value of a that you have passed here. So whenever you are calling the function with some parameter, this a is a parameter, the value of a will be automatically copied to this corresponding parameter n, which is there in the function. Okay, so this parameter at the point of calling, time of calling, you have a parameter, right? These parameters are called as actual parameters, because these terminologies are very important, because in questions they will be giving actual parameter, formal parameter. They will be mentioning terminologies like this. You need to understand which parameters are called as actual parameter. At the time of calling whatever data that you are passing, that parameter is called as actual parameter. At the time here in the function definition, here if you are giving any parameter list at the time, at the definition phase, that parameter is called as formal parameter. It is called as formal parameter. Okay, fine. Now, what the value that you are passing? You are passing the value of a, which is 3. So now coming to the block n, the value that can be stored here is actually 3. Now coming inside this function, we will be checking. Now we will start executing all these lines now. What is the first line? First line we will be checking if n greater than 0. What is the corresponding value of n? It is 3. Is it 3 greater than 0? Yes, absolutely 3 is greater than 0. So when the condition is evaluated to true, if condition is evaluated to true, then I will enter inside the block. So these 3 lines have to be executed, because if condition is true for this n value. So what is the first line? Printing the value of n. What is your present n value? 3. So the first output that will be printed is 3 will be printed. After printing 3, what is the next line? So take this as line number 1 and this as line number 2 and this as your line number 3. Okay. Now coming here to main function, your main function up to second line, so far you have second line you are executing. Second line is currently executing. Second line only we are inside the function. And in the activation area of func, so far up to first line I have completed, printing 3. Now what is second line? Second line is a function call, where we are calling the same function again. When the same function is called again, what will happen? The flow, the programming flow will go, the control flow will go again to the first line of the function. So which means that for the call func, which is taking the parameter 3, only up to second line I'm coming, third line I'm not still executing. Once I see second line, I will again go to first line. So here in func of 3, I will make a mark here. I will just mark so far up to second line we have executed. Still third line is not executed. That is what we are marking it here. Before executing third line, there is another function call. So when I face another function call, what has to happen? Activation record have to be created inside your stack memory. Can I delete this? No, you cannot delete it, because for func of 3, you come up to only second line. Still third line and the close curly braces of the function has to be executed. Then only you can delete this. Similarly, here also second line is still in executing phase. Still you have not executed close curly braces. So this active, see, always the topmost activation area is in active. You will be able to access only the topmost activation area. If you want to access this activation area, then this activation area have to be deleted. If this is deleted only, you can enter into the next activation area. So always the topmost activation area is the priority activation area. Okay. Now second line you are making again the same function, you are calling it again. Okay. I hope everything is I hope everything is going fine. Am I right? Voice, video, I think everything is going fine. Is it right? Okay. There is a question from Penna that which of the topics will be covered today? We will be covering recursion. Once we cover recursion, then we will enter into linked list. Then we will proceed with stack. Then we will proceed with proceed with stack. Then we will proceed with queue. Then we will proceed with linked. Then we will proceed with trees. Then with binary heap. Then with graph. Okay. So this is going to be the flow. So up to which concept we are going to cover today, we will stop. Then the remaining concept we will cover tomorrow, day after tomorrow. I think continuously for 5 days you are having this session on data structures. Okay, the basics of data structures and algorithms. Okay, fine. Now let me continue from where I left. Actually, we made a call. Main function is initially called. So activation record for main is created. And inside main function, you require a variable A. So memory block for A is created and value 3 is stored inside. Then there is a call of function, this func. So when the function C call is done, you will create one more activation area for func, taking the parameter 3. And here for the variable n, you will be creating a memory block. And to that memory block, you will be assigning 3 because you are calling the function with parameter 3. That 3 will be copied to n also. So n is taking value 3. You enter inside, you check n value is equal to 3, which is greater than 0. So the condition is evaluated to true. You enter inside, the printf function is executed, whereas printing the value of n, 3 is printed. After printing 3, you're calling the same function again, for which we will be creating one more activation area on top of the existing activation area. And inside the new activation area, okay, I'll just take rid of this stack memory. Okay, so in the new activation area that we have called, the name of the activation area is func, and the parameter that it is accepting is n minus 1. What is the previous n value? 3. What will be 3 minus 1? 2. So the new activation record is taking 2 as the parameter value. And the parameter is actually n again. So variable n will be again created. So variable n will be again created inside the activation record, the new activation record. So this is also going to have the same name, and you can wonder, how can two memory blocks scan the same value? This is what called as local variable. Two different activation record can have same variable name. Okay, two different activation record can have the same variable name. It's not a issue here. You will understand when I teach more than this, you will understand it better. Okay, so what is the value of n? N value will be 2 now. So we will be filling 2 inside. Now again, what you will do after filling 2, you will again start the process from first line. Again, the flow will start from first line. What is your n value? 2. Is it greater than 0? Yes. The current n value 2 is greater than 0. Condition true. I enter inside the if block. What is first line? Printing the value of current value of n. So what is the current value of n? It is 2. It is 2. So the next value that will be printed is 3 and 2. After printing 2, what is the next line? It is again calling the same function recursively. So after executing first line, you are now in second line. So func of 2 also coming up to only second line. Still third line is not executed. So third line is not still executed for func of 3 and also for func of 2. For these two activation record, up to second line only we executed. Third line still not executed. Now Again, what we will do for calling the same function again, one more activation record we will create on top of the existing activation record. And the name of the activation record is going to be func, and the parameter that we are going to accept is going to be here n-1, right? What is the previous n? Previous n is whatever the topmost activation area value. So that n value of the topmost activation area is 2. So what will be 2 minus 1? 2 minus 1 is 1. So func of 1. So coming again to the first line, for variable n, a new memory block will be created for variable n. And the name of the memory block is n. What is the value that you are passing? 2 minus 1, 1 is the value. So instead of n, we will be taking value 1. Again, start from first line. What is the value of n? 1. 1 is definitely greater than 0. So condition is definitely evaluated to true. So I enter inside. So there is a printf of n. What is the present value of n? 1. So the next value printed will be 1. So 3, 2, 1. After printing 1, what is the next line? Second line is calling the same function again. So func also, what is happening? Up to second line you are executing. Second line you have a recursive call. So again you have to go to first line. Here also third line is not executed. So for calling the next function, one more activation record will be created. Let us consider this to be one more activation record. And inside that activation record, we will create a new memory block for n. This memory block is for n. And this is also the activation area of func, but for the parameter 0, because what you are calling is n-1. What is the last one? 1. 1 minus 1 equal to 0. Now the new value of n is equal to 0. Again, I will start from first line. If n greater than 0, is it 0 greater than 0? Definitely not. Condition false, so I will not enter inside. I will come out of if. Coming out of if, I have only the close curly braces of func. Whenever the close curly braces of a function, whenever you are calling the function and the function's close curly braces, if it is executed, what has to happen? The respective activation area can be deleted. So for which activation record actually the close curly braces is executed? For this topmost activation area having n value 0. So what is your job now? You have to delete this activation record and you can move to the next activation record. So after deleting the topmost activation record only, you will be able to enter into the next activation record. So I delete this activation record, I enter into the next activation record. Now, after entering into the next activation record, now what I should do is, I should check what is the total number of lines so far executed. First line and second line, up to second line only it was executed in this activation area. Now remaining you have one more line available, am I right? Which has to be executed for each and every activation record. So we are going to execute the remaining lines of code which is left out. So it is the third line which is left out for this activation area. If I execute that only, I can go to the close curly braces. Then only I will be able to delete this activation record. So what is the remaining line that is left out? It is just printing the present value of n. What is the present value of n? 1. So again, you just have to continue with printing again from 1. So again, one more 1 will be printed. And after printing 1, you come to the close curly braces of the function where you can delete the activation record of it. And after deleting the activation record, you will come to the next activation record. Now coming to the next activation record, here this activation record also up to second line only executed. Now the left out line, third line have to be executed, where third line is printing the value of n. What is the present value of n? It is 2. So after 3211, the next value that should be printed is 2. After printing 2, you come to the close curly braces where this activation record will be deleted. And after deleting the activation record, we enter into the next activation record. And coming to this activation record, what is the value of n? 3. What is the, so far we have executed up to second line. Now executing third line, the left out line, what is the value of n? N is 3. So the next value that needs to be printed is 3. After printing 3, this activation record also will be deleted. And after we delete this activation record, we enter into the main activation area. I think main up to this line only we have executed so far. And after that line, we have only the close curly braces. Now the complete execution of main function is also over. I delete, and finally everything from the code section and also from the stack memory will be completely deleted, flushed. This is a complete execution from the starting point to ending point. I have explained. So the output that is going to print is 3 2 1 1 2 3. Okay, so is everybody understood? Okay, do everybody understood up to what I have conveyed so far? Now you can start. Okay, now you can start with posting your doubts so that I can clarify the part of recursion again. Okay, fine. There is a question from Penna. Sir, activation record of function 1, 2, 3 are in code section or stack? They are inside stack. They are inside stack section. Okay, fine. There is a lot of understood, very clear. Okay, everything is clear. We understood. Wow, okay, fine, understood. Okay, there are few people. There are few people who have doubt in the printing 1 2 3. So printing 3 to 1 is everybody is comfortable. Then printing 1 2 3 is not comfortable. Okay, fine. I will tell you the simple concept. I will tell you a simple concept. Okay, you are having a code. You are executing line by line. At some point of time, you're calling a function. When you're calling a function, what you will do? You will go from here. You will stop the process. From here, you will move to exactly the function. You will execute all the lines inside the function. After executing all the lines inside the function, you will again come back and you will start the remaining lines of code to be executed. Am I right? Is it everybody clear with this? You execute line by line. Some point of time when there is a function call, not recursive, when there is a normal function call, what you will do? From there you will enter into function, execute all the lines. After executing all the lines inside the function, again you come back to the same line and you continue third line, fourth line, and you will move on. The same I'm telling here in the recursive. What you're doing, you're executing line number 1, you're executing line number 2, and once a line number 2, you have a function. What you have to do? Function call. You have to go to the first line of the function call, and after that is getting completed, again you have to return back to the same line, and you have to complete. You have to continue the remaining lines. So what I'm telling you is that what you're doing is you're calling your func with parameter 3. Then you execute first line and second line for that func of 3. And second line, you have a recursive call. So again, when you're having a function call, you're again going to the first line. So after second line, if you're going to first line, who will execute the third line? Third line is not still executed. For func of 3, for func of 2, for func of 1, still third line is not executed. When it will be executed? It will be executed once the condition becomes false. Once the condition becomes false, it will be executed, but in the reverse order. You are calling func of 3 first, then func of 2, then func of 1. But this third line will be executed in the reverse order. First, it will be executed for func of 1, then it will be executed for func of 2, then it will be executed for func of 3. So you are making 3 recursive call, and for all the 3 recursive call, this third line is not executed. But that third line definitely need to be executed. How? So it will execute from the top to bottom. So in the top you have func of 1. So first of all, that printf will be working for this func of 1 where the n value is 1. So again, what we will do? We printed 3 to 1 when moving from bottom to top. From moving from bottom to top, we printed 3 to 1. Again, from moving top to bottom, we will be able to move only from top to bottom. I will not be able to enter directly to this activation record, because I have made it already very clear. Only the topmost activation area can be accessed. If you want to access any other activation area, then all the topmost activation area have to be deleted. Then only you can access some specified activation record. So what you're doing, you are making a top to bottom move, and also you are moving a bottom to top. I will tell you that recursion is having 2 phases. One phase is creating activation record. One phase is creating activation record. The second phase is of a stack, you are creating activation record, and this phase is called as ascending phase. When the condition becomes false at some activation record, you start coming back again. So you start moving from bottom to top. So you move from top to bottom when the conditions are evaluated to true. When the conditions evaluate to false, then you start falling back. Then you start moving from bottom to bottom again. When you're moving from top to bottom, you are deleting the activation record, and that phase is actually called as descending phase. So moving from bottom to top is ascending, and moving from top to bottom is called as descending phase. Okay, I will tell you very clearly, if you have a recursive call, all the lines which are above the recursive call will be executed at the time of stack activation record creation. All the lines of code that occurs before your recursive call will be executed in the ascending phase. What is ascending? Creating activation record. So at that point, at the time of creating activation record, all the lines which is before your recursive call will be executed. But all the lines that is after a recursive call will be executed when you are moving from bottom to top at the time of deletion. At the time of deletion. So if you understand this, then it is very clear. So whatever the lines of code that you are going to write after recursive call will be executed backward. It will be executed in the backward direction. Okay. So whatever you are writing before the recursive call will be executed in the forward direction, and whatever lines of code after recursive call will be executed in the backward direction. Okay. So this is what will be happening. So I hope you understand how 1 to 3 is getting printed. Because this third line is not executed for function 3, function 2, function 1. So we need to execute these 3 lines. How? For function 1 only, first of all, we will execute print. So function 1, n value is 1, so we are printing 1. Next, after that, we will execute the third line for function of 2, where n value 2, so we printed 2. Next, we execute that printf statement for the next activation area having n value 3. So next, we are printing n is equal to 3. Okay, fine. So everybody is okay with the recursion. Any doubts you can just keep you can just go forward. There are a lot of questions coming in. Let me take time to clarify all the doubts. I don't know how it's going to be possible, but let me try to yeah. So can you explain the last step int main function? The last step is C. The last step is very clear. Once you, from the function call, you entered into this function block. After executing all the lines, once you come back here, from after second line is completely executed, you have to enter third line. That's it. So the second line, you make a call, you go there. After all the lines are completed, you again come back to second line and you start executing from line number 3. That's it. Okay, fine. That is what you have to do. Then activation record is in stack, right? Yes, activation record means it is in stack. Okay, then can you please explain again from starting, sir? Not, definitely not possible. I will give you the replay link. You just tell me. I think it's not. I'll tell you something. Online training is something very serious. Okay, we cannot like waste. See, already 50 minutes we have taken for this. Again, if I repeat, the today's session will just get over. So I think I have made it once or twice. I have made it very clear. So I think few people, if you have any difficulty in it, I think you get a replay link and you just watch it again. That's the only choice, because like there are totally like more number of students are taking up this session. I don't want to waste everybody's time actually. So can you please explain again from starting? It's not possible. Okay, fine. If you want any doubt in the respect of some particular place, I can do it. Okay, clearly understood, and also explain about pass by value, pass by reference. Definitely, I will do that. Okay, once again explain not possible lightly. After n becomes 0, why 1 to 3 is printed? See, after n becomes 0, why 1 to 3 is printed? That is a question. The question, I will just make it very clear that why we are doing it, because the third line is not still executed. Third line is not executed in any of the activation record. So when you're coming from top to bottom, you have to execute the remaining lines of code that you left when you're moving from bottom to top, which are all the lines that you missed. That line have to be executed when you're coming from top to bottom. That is why we did this. So I can understand the output 3 to 1, but I don't understand 1 to 3. Okay. See, let me just clearly watch my words. When you are calling the function, it is very clearly evident that only you are executing first 2 lines. When you're executing second line, you're again going to the first line. Where come the third line executed? That's a question that I am putting forth to you. Where is the third line executed? Third line is not executed when I'm moving from bottom to top of the stack. When third line is not third line, what is the value of n? 2. I print it. Then I again come to function of 3. What is the value here? 3. I will print 3. Very simple. I don't know what is confusing you there. I don't know what is confusing you there. I start calling the function recursively because second line is having a recursion call. After second function, again and again, I'm going to the first line because it is a function call. So I'm not executing third line. I'm not executing third line. So when the third line have to be executed, when you're moving from top to bottom, I need to execute. For moving from top to bottom, I see function of 1 first of all. I met function of 1 first of all, so I execute printf for that. And then I did it for function of 2, and then I did it for function of 3. So that is the reason why 1 to 3 is again getting printed. For the first printf statement, 3 to 1 is printed. For the next printf statement, only 1 to 3 has got printed. That's very simple. Okay, fine. Next question is, there no return, sir. Why have taken return value? There is nothing return value. I did not take any return value. What return value you are speaking? There is no return keyword. There is no return type. What value that I am taking return? I'm not taking any return value. Which value that I'm returning? Indra, can you please brief your question? It's not logical. Okay, fine. Functions and recursion both are same or not? And what's the difference? Function is just simply see, when you write a main is a function, but func is a recursive function because the same function is getting called again. See, if I defined func and if I'm calling func in main function, it's normal function. But inside the same function, if I'm making a call of the same function, then it is called as a recursive function. That's a difference. Okay, I will now type. Okay, yeah, Vignesh, I will show the output of this code there in the editor also. There in the. So please summarize the full code, please, sir. What happens to stack memory recursion occurs? What happens to stack memory recursion occurs to infinity? Stack overflow will happen. That is a great question, sir. What happens to stack memory recursion occurs infinity? I will tell you when a recursion will occur infinity. Okay, the recursion will keep on be occurring if there is no condition. If this condition is not provided at any point of time, will you stop creating this activation record? No. This condition is what called as base criteria. This is what called as base criteria. I think you could have just seen some question somewhere. If no base criteria is given to a recursion, what will happen? This is what called as base criteria. Okay, that's not no base criteria. This is what called as base criteria, or otherwise called as base condition, or called as bounding condition. Okay, base condition, base criteria, or otherwise called as bounding function. Bounding. Okay, any of this terminology that it is pointing to this condition. If this condition is not provided, this recursion will keep on be happening. There is no point of stopping it. So that time it will happen infinitely. The recursion will be happen. So if no base criteria is provided, the recursion will happen infinitely. When infinitely the recursion is getting called, activation record will keep on be created in the stack. At some point of time, it will, totally, we will go out of memory, because if completely we have used the stack memory, there is still no more memory to create activation record. That scenario is called as stack overflow. So you will get an error called as stack overflow. Okay, so if infinitely the recursion is going on, keep on going on, then that is called as keep on the recursive. When the recursive function is keep on executed, infinite recursion is happening, stack overflow will happen. An error with stack overflow will be thrown. Okay, I've answered that. Okay, fine. So will the code section contains a detail of function at the beginning of program, and it will create when the function was called? Code section will contain the detail of the function at the beginning of a program. There is no recursive call after n becomes 0. Okay, non-tailed recursion. Okay, for input a equal to 8 and b equal to 6, function of input a comma, and if a is less than b, you have to return function. I know this question which is asked. I will take this question next and I will explain this question also. I'll take this question and I will explain this question also. Okay, so neglecting the logic, can we write n minus 1 in third line, that is in print statement? I don't understand what you're asking, Kirtana. Okay, there is a question that, sir, neglecting the logic, can we write n minus 1 in third line, that is in print statement? So that is what you're asking. So yeah, you can go see anything you can print. I understand it. Anything you can print. It's not n only. I'm just printing here n to make you understand the logic. That's it. You can print n minus 1. You can also print some other value also. You can print. No issues with that. Mohammed Mohsen Ali, I had a different approach towards recursion before. Now I have a better idea and understanding of memory creation and deletion. Thank you, sir. Okay, welcome. I would be very happy if you are. How heap is used? I will explain you how heap is used, when heap will be used. Okay. Okay, sir. Next, move on. Okay, fine. Clearly explain. So what do if int main is at top of void function? Nothing. No, nothing is going to happen. It's everything same. It will be happening. Clear, sir. What do if int main is at the top of? No, nothing. What happened if one line is not present? That is why I explained. If line 1 is not present, what is line 1? Line 1 means, are you speaking about printf? If printf is not available, only 1 to 3 will be printed, not 3 to 1. Suppose you are asking about the base criteria. If it is not given, infinite loop, infinite recursion will happen. Heap memory, why it is used for, I will explain you. So can you explain today's test question of 5? No, this is not a session for explaining your pseudocode. This is a session for explaining you data structures and algorithm with using which you can clear pseudocode. So pseudocode separate section is happening for you. Separate session is happening for you when it's coming to pseudocode, so that you can go there. And when you want to, like attend pseudocode, take a pseudocode, explain it, line by line execute. That thing will happen in a different session. This is not a session meant for that. Please be very clear about that. Okay. So how we can arrange an ascending and descending order if asymptotic complexities are given? With the asymptotic complexities, your ascending and descending order cannot be decided. So can you please share this document at the end of the class? Sure, definitely I will send. Can you explain 1, 2, 3 output with programs? Yes, now I'm going to write the program. Okay. So can you 1 second show the slide? I will send you back, guys. Top to bottom is ascending, and no. See, there is bottom to top is called as ascending, and top to bottom is called as descending. Okay, bottom to top ascending, from top to bottom it is called as a descending phase. Okay. I will tell you again. I will just mention it here itself. Okay, I will just mention it here in the document itself. You can see here. If it is from bottom to top, it is ascending. It is ascending phase. If it is top to bottom, then it is actually descending phase. It is descending phase. Okay, it's clear. I will send you this document also. Okay, descending phase. Okay, fine. I think everything is clear now so far. I'm just going to move forward. And a lot of people, okay, yeah, I'm going to just move forward. Okay, fine. So can you give us the link to rewatch session, because my internet data is full consumed? Okay, I understand your regret. Okay, definitely I will definitely share you the link of it. Okay, sir, if there is no line after function evaluation, then what happened? I don't understand, Mehraj. I don't understand. Can you just please repeat it again? Can we apply recursion on main function by calling main inside main recursion on main? Yeah, it is possible. You can also do recursion inside main function. It is possible. Okay. Now I can just firstly, what I will do is I will take editor. And I will just type in the same code that we discussed today. Hash include stdio. I just little bit faster. Let me type it. Okay. So don't I have already taught you that. I will just type it very fastly. Okay, just give me some time. I'll just type it very fastly. Okay. Okay, I think this is the same code that we discussed there. Okay, this is the same code that I discussed. Whatever process happened there, I will show the same process which is happening inside the compiler. So once again, take it. I'm going to repeat it again. So, but inside the compiler, I'm going to show you visually how it is happening inside the compiler. Okay, fine. So I'm going to start the process again. Just keep watching it line by line. Watch it carefully. Okay, I will show you exactly what is line by line. It will be happening. Okay. So I'm going to start execution from the main function. Okay, you can see something here on the left side called as call stack. This call stack only, the stack that I explained you here, the stack part of the main memory, right? That stack part only here it is called as call stack. And inside the call stack, you see that main, right? This is what called as activation record. There is, see, once the main function started executing, activation record for main function gets created, and inside the main function, whatever is available, it is here. This is a place where it is showing whatever is inside, available inside main activation record. So inside main activation record, we have a variable called as n. Default, it is having a garbage value 0. But once if 13th line got executed, it will be assigned with 3. So we execute 13th line. So automatically this n value is assigned to 3. Now coming to 14th line. We are going to call this function. We are calling this function. 14th line, we are calling this func function. So when the function is called, what will happen from 14th line? You will hereafter jump to second line. So once you call func, you just enter into your func. Now once you call func, you can see here. Can you see here? Initially there was only one activation area for main. Now one more activation gets created on top of the existing activation record main, and that activation record is also having n equal to 3. Coming here to main activation or area also having n equal to 3. Okay, now coming to func activation area, we have to execute line by line. Coming to 4th line, I will execute 4th line. Okay, 4th line is n greater than 0, where 3 greater than 0, condition true, I entered inside. Now what is the first line? Printf. What is the present value of n? 3. So 3 will get printed, and you have a recursive call. When you call this recursively, what will happen? Again, you should go to the first line of the function, but one more activation record will be created for this call, new call. Let us see that. Can you able to see here? Can you able to see here? Initially main was there. Then when you call func, one more activation record created. Now the next activation area also got created. Now you see inside main n value is 3. Inside first func call, see here, func call stopping there. Can you able to see the compiler? It is stopping the execution of this activation area at line number 7. Hereafter, okay, after 7th line, what you do? You create a new activation area and you entered into that activation area. So in that activation area, what is the n value? New n value. 2 is the new n value. So first line, 2 greater than 0, condition true. Enter inside. What is 6th line here? 6th line is printing the value of n. So we will be printing 2 here. So after printing 2, again there is a recursive call func of n minus 1. So when you execute this, one more activation record will be created on top of the existing activation area. Can you able to see here? And the new activation area n value equal to 1. I can again trace you. Main function, we executed line 13. 14th line you called func. So the execution is stopping at 14th line for main. Then you entered into func with parameter 3, n equal to 3. And you executed 4th line, 5th line, 6th line, 7th line you did a recursive call, and we are stopping the execution of this activation area at line number 7. Once if this func is finished, then you will come back to 8th line and you will print the remaining one more n value. That again you will print the n value again after finishing 7th line completely. But because of 7th line, you have created one more activation area which is having n equal to 2. And that activation area also 4th line, 5th line, 6th line got executed, and 7th line recursive call, again you go to first line and a new activation record. So 8th line is not still executed for this activation record also. I go to the next activation record where n value equal to 1. I'm starting from 4th line. So condition is true because 1 greater than 0, condition true, I enter inside. What is the present value of n? 1. So already 3 2 gets printed. Now 1 also will be printed. So I will be printing 1. And after printing 1, there is again a recursive call. So one more activation record will be created, but the value of n is equal to 0. Now see this, look at this, that n greater than 0 is a false condition. So you will not enter inside, you will come outside, where now you are in the closed curly braces of func. and which activation record where n is equal to 0. So once a close curly braces is executed for this activation record, then this activation record have to be deleted. See, have a count of this. Totally 4 activation record is available. But if this activation, the present activation area gets deleted, hereafter there will be only 3 activation record for FunC. I can show you now. Once close curly braces is executed, only 3 activation record is there. So what I did is, after deleting that, I entered into the next activation record where n value is equal to 1. And at last I was executing that activation area up to line number 7. Now I am continuing my execution from where I left actually. So up to 7th line, I continued with the new activation record. It got deleted now. Now I'm continuing from 8th line. From where I left, I'm continuing. Okay, so with FunC of n minus 1, I stopped. Now I'm continuing with printing n value. So what is the present n value? 1. So now the reverse phase is coming. Now the descending phase is coming. So far, whatever we have done is ascending phase. Now we are starting our descending phase. What I will do, I will print the present value n equal to 1. And after printing the present value n equal to 1, then I will go to the last line. So when last line is executed, the current activation record will be deleted. And hereafter, there will be only 2 activation record. And once this activation record gets deleted, you will enter into the next activation record where line number, when n value is equal to 2, and up to 7th line, that execution is stopped. Now what you will do, you will continue from 8th line of that activation record. So first of all, we'll go to top, close curly braces is executed, that activation record gets deleted, you entered into the next activation record having n value 2. And you stop that line with 7th line, now you are continuing from 8th line, where you will print n value, where n value is equal to 2, which will print, again close curly braces, delete this activation record, enter into the next activation record. The activation record deleted, you entered into the next activation record where n value is equal to 3. That also was stopped up to line number 7. Now you are continuing from line number 8, where printing the present value n is 3. So this is how 3, 2, 1, and again 1, 2, 3. So again, if this close curly braces is executed, corresponding activation record will get deleted. You enter into main. Main up to 14th line you executed. Now you are continuing from 15th line, where 15th line you have close curly braces, whereas the activation record of main also will be deleted from the entire thing. So now everything from call stack variables, everything is flushed because the complete execution is over. Now I will also show you by manually executing this gcc -o hello, and the name of the file is going to be recursion.c. Okay, now I will go with hello. Can you able to see the same output getting printed? 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think I did my best in, I have did my best in explaining this recursive code. Okay, and for printing 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, this is what the things that will be happening inside the compiler. Is it everybody okay with what I have covered so far? I will do comparison on time complexity. I will teach you recursion. More problems I will teach you. Okay, I will teach you. Then I will teach you what is stack. I will teach you what is queue. I will also teach you what is linked list, what is tree, what is heap, what is graph. I will teach you each and everything that is exactly required to clear pseudocode. Okay, fine. So don't repeatedly post many doubts, so that many questions. Don't take pseudocode and post it in chat box. Okay, fine. So we will proceed further. I think the basic thing that you need to understand, okay, the basic thing that you need to understand from what I have conveyed so far is, you should understand recursion will do 2 phases: ascending phase, descending phase. Ascending phase is from bottom to top of a stack. Descending phase is from top to bottom of a stack. Whatever the lines that is happening above, okay, whatever the lines that is lines of code that is occurring above, okay, what is the line of code that is occurring above the recursive call will be executed in the ascending phase. All the lines which are after the recursive call will be executed in the descending phase. Okay, so this is the simple thing that you need to understand. Okay, So there is a question from Syed Bashira Gulshan. So there is else part. If there is else part, there is written n. Then what will be the output, sir? Yes. Okay, I will explain the remaining questions, possible kind of questions that can be asked in recursion also. Okay. So my name is Sachin. Okay, my name is Sachin. Okay, fine. I'm the technical head. I'm the head training division of Sixth Phase MySlate. Okay, so I have over three plus years of experience in what I'm doing now. I'm just currently, like training students in C, data structures, algorithms, C++, Java, Python, web development, web development, and in data science, and also in terms of machine learning. Also, I'm training people. Okay. So, and also I'm a Udemy instructor where I'm just currently holding 5 Udemy courses under my name. And okay, fine. So this is about a short profile about me, because for few people who are asking me about me, right? So, sir, could you say which ID is that? This is Visual Studio Code. This is Visual Studio Code. Okay, this is Visual Studio Code that I'm using. Yeah, fine. Okay. So I think we don't want to take much time out of it. We will just move to the next one. But before moving, what I will do is I will just export the board. Just have a save. I will just make a save. I'll just export the board and I will just give you. I will just send you now itself, because I will used to forget, or I will erase it by unfortunately, by mistake. I will also like erase it. Okay. So what I will do is I just have taken the PDF of it, downloaded it. So I'm going to add. Okay, I'm going to just give you a file where recursion.pdf I'm sending. So which is having that like board. It is converted into PDF, and I'll just send you. Okay, I'm just sending it to you. You just tell me whether you are receiving it from your end. Okay, just tell me whether you are receiving it from. Do you receive it from your end? I have just shared it. I've just shared it. So just tell me whether you have received it. Okay. Just have a look of all the courses that I'm making on. I have just made like few courses that you have a look of it. Okay, look into it. If you want recursion very extensively, I have a course for advanced C where recursions are explained very extensively for more than 15 hours. Okay, so yeah, I will just give you a link of it. If it is useful, you can go ahead with that. Okay, fine. I hope the documents have been received by you. Yeah, fine. Right. So now I would just continue. Okay, I would just continue from where I left actually. There is one more question that I wanted to answer. So which compiler are you using in Visual Studio Code for C program? TDM GCC. Okay, TDM GCC. TDM GCC is a version, is a compiler that I'm using. Okay, TDM GCC is a compiler that I'm using with Visual Studio Code. Okay, so we have still like 45 minutes more. Let us use it. Let us use it fruitfully. Okay, fine. Just students, listen me very carefully. I will put my best, and there are still concepts that we are going to learn in trees and graphs, which will definitely help you in clearing your pseudocode. Once I teach you all the concepts in trees and graphs, then you will be able to easily understand what the question they are trying to ask you. And I can assure you, if 20 programs are given to you after the 5 days of class that you're going to have, definitely you will be able to answer more than 15 questions. Okay, definitely you will be able to answer more than 15 questions very easily after you attending all the 5 classes that we are going to conduct in this week. Okay, so be serious, take all the classes seriously. Okay, fine. I hope my voice is clear. The few people are saying that my voice is breaking. Is my voice clear? So everything is clear from my end. Okay, fine. I think my voice is audible. I will just continue. Okay, I will just continue from where I left actually, right? We will take one more recursion. Which is asked in Capgemini. I will explain you that recursion so that Recursion, hereafter there is nothing to learn in recursion. Okay, you take a code, whatever I have done it with the help of stack, you do it again. So you can actually master it with the help of the replay video that I have now. Okay, so with the replay video that I'm going to give you, just watch it again so that you can understand very clearly how the recursion have to be line by. Okay, we'll go one more thing. Okay, we'll go with one more thing. So the next code that we are going to take is, let us take integer return type func of integer a comma b. I think there is one person who have actually see guys, I think yes, exactly. Thank you so much. I think this is a question that I was expecting for. Okay, 17.9e1 somebody. Yeah, thank you so much. I was just expecting for this one. Okay, so I'll just take the same code. We are taking a function input a comma b. If a less than b, okay, fine. So we are taking integer function a comma b and checking if a is less than b. We are making a recursive call func of b comma a. Okay, fine. Next, what's the next condition? Next condition is we are having else if b not equal to 0. Else if b not equal to 0, what is the next recursive call if this condition is true? Func of, what is it called? Func of a plus func of a comma b minus 1. It's func of a plus. Okay. So what they are doing is return a plus func of a comma b minus 1. This is the next one. Coming to else. Else what is it? Else we will have to return 0. Okay. So else we have to return 0, and also here this is return. Okay. So this is a code that we have to take. Okay. Return. Okay. Fine. Here also there is a return. Okay, I think hope you understand this. And in the main function, okay, in the main function, what will be happening? In the main function, this func will be called by passing, what is the value of a and b? Value of a and b is 8 and 9. So you will be passing 8 comma 9 while you're calling here. Okay, fine. So let us take here, for example, here inside this main function, integer a equal to 8, comma b is equal to 9. And instead of passing 8 comma 9, we'll pass 8 a comma b. Yeah, fine. Okay, I think hope you understand. Let me give some spaces here so that you can understand a little more. Yeah, fine. It's visible completely. Okay, I think by looking at this code now, by the concepts that we have learned already, I think it will be very easy for you to now do the prediction. Okay, now I will take main memory, where we will take 3 parts. One is code section, let us leave about that, and one is heap memory. Let us only concentrate on our stack memory. Okay, so coming to stack memory, initially in the program main function will be called. So for the main function, one activation area you have to record, you have to create, and inside this activation record, let me create 2 blocks, two memory blocks. Okay, and the first memory block, let me have it as name A. Second memory block, the name is actually B. And coming here to A, the value we are going to store here is actually 8, and the value of B is going to be exactly 9. That is what will happen inside the activation record of main. And what is the next line of main activation record? Second line, func is the next second line. So first line you will be executing. Second line, what you have to execute? Second line you will be calling func. So from second line, what will happen? From second line you will directly reach to the first line of the function. You call a function. First of all, activation record will be created for func. So you create activation record on top of the existing activation record for func with parameter values 8, 9, because you are passing the value of a, b here. So here inside func also there are 2 parameters, right? This is int a, int b. Okay, 2 parameters or a, b is available. So what you have to do inside this new activation record also create 2 memory block. One is for A, the other one is for B. So one activation record you created for A. The next activation record you created it for B. Okay. Now, what is the value of A and B that you received? 8 and 9. So instead of A, you received 8. Instead of B, you received 9. Okay. That's it. Now you enter into the function. What is the first if condition? A less than B. 8 less than B. Is it true? Yes, true, because 8 is less than 9. A less than B is a true condition. When if is true, definitely else if else, you will not enter anywhere inside that. So when if is true, what is the function that you're having? Function that we are having is about return keyword I will teach you. But before that, we will do this recursion. Func of B comma A. So what I'm doing is I'm recursively calling the same function. For calling the same function again, one more activation record will be created, inside which two blocks will be created, where one block is going to take, okay, I'll teach you. First block is going to be A, second block is going to be B. What you're doing here, you're taking the B value and sending it instead of A, and you're taking A value and you're sending it instead of B. So you're just reversing the value. So you're taking the value of B here. You're taking the value of B and you're sending it instead of A. You're taking the value of B, A, and you're sending it instead of B. So A will be taking 9 and B will be taking 8 hereafter. Now this is the next activation record that I'm creating for func of 9, 8. But now tell me, up to which line you have executed for this activation record? For 8, 9, you come up to this line. So let me consider this is line number 1. I will take this line number 1. Let me take this as line number 2. Take this as line number 3. Take this as line number 4. Take this as line number, okay, take this as line number 5. Take this as line number 6. Yes, fine. Now, up to which line we executed? Up to second line we executed, because we made that recursive call, right? Up to second line. After second line, we will not definitely execute third line, fourth line, fifth line, sixth line, because if condition, once you enter into if condition, definitely else if else and all, we will not be getting inside. That's a normal logic we use in conditional statement, right? Okay. Now up to second line. Now coming here to 9, 8, we will start the process. We will check first line. If A is less than B, 9 is definitely not less than B. So that condition is not true. Come here for third line, else if B not equal to 0. Is it B not equal to 0? Exactly, yes. B is not equal to 0. What you will do, you will enter inside. And what is the call here? The call is A plus func of A comma B minus 1. A plus func of A comma B minus 1. Okay. What I will do here, I will create one more activation record. And for that activation record, so up to which line we have executed here? Up to fourth line we have reached. So fourth line we have reached. Fourth line call only we are making now. So for calling this func of, see, A plus, okay, fine. But A plus func of A comma B minus 1. Am I right? So what we have to do here, we will be calling, func of A comma B minus 1. So coming to the next activation record, two memory blocks will be created. Two memory block. And one memory block is called as A, second memory block is called as B. Now coming to A value is the same value 9. But what is the B value? B value are minus 1. So 8 minus 1, 7. And one more thing, what you are doing, you are also with the recursive call, you are adding the value of A. So what is the value of A here? 9 is the, so previous activation area value is A. A is 9. So with the answer that you are going to receive for this recursive call, you need to also add the A value, which is adding 9. The corresponding A have to be 9 value have to be added here. Okay. Now I will also create, now after creating this activation area where A equal to 9, B equal to 7, again start from first line. A less than B, not a true condition. B not equal to 0 is a true condition. So what we will do, we will just keep on creating the activation record. We will create the activation area, and what we will do, we will create an activation record, two memory block, and this memory block, what we will do, we will A as it is we are calling, so A we are calling 9, and B minus 1, there is 7 minus 1, it will become 6. And with this recursion call, what we are doing, we are also adding A value, where the A value is actually 9. So here also what you are doing with the resultant value, you have to add 9 also in this activation area. And this keeps on going. This keeps on going until your B becomes 0. Until your B becomes 0. So if I keep on creating activation record hereafter, it will confuse you. It will confuse you. So what I will do is, if it is a simple recursion, you take stack. It will easily help you. But if it is suppose a very complex concept, what you do is, you can do it in another way also. You can predict the output in a different manner also. I will explain you that now. I think hope you understood. You can understood the like you already understood how stack will be performed. But I will give you one more method which also can be used to predict the output of recursion. Okay. So initially, what is the call that you made? Initially, the call made is func of 8, 9 is the first call that you made. Okay. Now you came inside where you found that a less than b, 8 less than 9 is a true condition. So what you make is, you enter inside the if condition where you have a recursive call where you are calling func of b, a. So initially you called func of 8, 9. Now you are going to call func of 9, 8 because you are just flipping the value. Instead of a, b, instead of a you are passing b value. Instead of b you are passing a value. So I just interchanged the value of a, b, 9, 8. Now coming to 9, 8, let me start from first line. A less than b, 9 less than 8 is not true, but b not equal to 0 is a true condition. So what is the call that I need to make inside this? I should make a plus func of a, b minus 1. So from here, what is the call that I will be doing? A plus, what is a value? 9. 9 plus func of a is again 9, but b minus 1. B is 8. 8 minus 1 will be 7. 9, 7. Now coming to this recursive call, what you will be doing from this recursive call? Again from first line. 9 less than 7 is not a true condition. Else if b not equal to 0 is a true condition. So for that, what we will do? We will enter into else if return a plus func of a, b minus 1. So again we will execute a plus. What is the present a? Present a is again 9. So again what I will do is I will execute 9 plus func of 9, 6. Okay. So again a less than b condition will never be true. B not equal to 0. So until b becomes 0, you repeat the same process again. What is the same process? A plus func of a, b minus 1 you have to repeat. So what I will do is, actually I will just repeat the same process. The next call what we will do is, after this the next call will be a plus, a is 9 plus func of a will remain, but only b we are decrementing, so b will become 5. After this we will make again one recursive call because still b is not equal to 0. So I will make one more call where again I will do 9 plus func of 9, 4. And from func of 9, 4, I will be doing one more call. The call will be 9 plus func of 9, 3. Then again I will make one more call from there because still b is not equal to 0. Again the next call will be like 9 plus, it will be 9 plus func of 9, 2. I will again make the next call because still b is not equal to 0. So I will make another call where I will be making 9 plus func of 9, 1. 9, 1. Now I will make one more call where I will be doing 9 plus you will be calling func of 9, 0, where when you are calling 9, 0, when you are calling this func of 9, 0, look at the code here. A less than b, 9 less than 0 is not a true condition. B also has become 0. This is also not true. You will come to else part where return 0. So instead of this fun of 9, 0, what will be written? 0 will be written. So what you do is, instead of this function you substitute 0, because instead of that function call you received 0, you return 0. So now instead of that function call you received 0, so 9 plus 0 answer will be 9. So this function only you called this, right? So 9 plus 0 will be the answer of this recursive call. So 9, 1 will be receiving 9. So 9 plus 9, 18. So this 9 comma 2 will be receiving 9, 18. Now I will tell you the importance of the return statement. What return statement will be doing? Return statement will be taking the value along with it to each and every activation record. Where is activation record? This is func of 8 comma 9 is one activation record. Func of 9 comma 8 is one activation record. This func of 9 comma 7, 1, 9 comma 8. So each and every call is one activation record. But instead of starting from bottom to top, I'm just mentioning from top to bottom. This is a tree structure. Whatever I have mentioned here is a tree structure. There in stack, I was explaining you from bottom to top. Here I'm explaining you from top to bottom. Now, once the condition becomes false, what you need to do? Again, you have to start from bottom. You have to move topward. Okay. Now, after the value of this function of 9 comma 2, 18, 18 plus 9, 27. So this function of 9 comma 3 will be receiving 27. 27 plus 9, it will be 36. So the answer of this will be 36. Then 36 plus 9, it will be 45. So it will be receiving from us 45. Then 45 plus 9 will be 54. So this function will be receiving 54. 54. 54 plus 9, 63. So this will be expecting 63, receiving 63. 63 plus 9, it will be receiving from us 72. It will be receiving from us 72. Then, is there anything process? No. From 72, we will return again 72 here to 8 comma 9. Final answer will be 72. Hereafter, no 9 plus is coming. No, you are not going to change 72 hereafter. No 9 plus is coming. So the final answer that you found is actually 72. The same process, you can do it using stack also. Stack also, it will be the same level only. But stack only internal compiler is using. But for making it a little bit, one more way of finding it, I just want to show you. I just want to show you one more way of finding it, like a tree structure. So that is why I have, make it possible. Because when I represent this within like a tree structure, then this 9 plus 63, 9 plus 54, this will look better. You can understand it better. How this 9 is adding with 54, how it is done, how it is carried out. Okay. So the final answer of this recursive code is actually 72. Okay. I think hope you understand this calling nature. I think hope you understand the calling nature. If the call you understand, then also from returning phase, how the values are added also you should have understood it. Okay. So now you just tell me. What doubt that you have regarding this, so that I can clarify you. Okay. So 72 is the answer that many people have shared. So what we do then, when there is recursion limit error occurred, for example, Python has recursion limit of 1000. There is no limit actually. If there is a limit, then stack overflow will be happening. So how present A become 9? Because we are just interchanging A comma B values and sending as input to function, but not assigning. We should take it as assignment, right? We see 9 comma 8, when you're sending, 9 will be assigned to A and 8 will be definitely assigned to B. Assignment will definitely happen there. So function of 9 comma 1 will get value 9, right? So which is 9 plus 0. I think 9 comma 1 itself will receive, see here, when the condition will be false, when the B not equal to condition will be false, when you're coming to function of 9 comma 0, you can stop the process there only. So when you're stopping there, that is receiving 0 actually. So 0 plus 9 is 9. So function of 9 comma 1 will be receiving 9 as the answer. Then you proceed with 9 plus 9, 18, 18 plus 9, 27. You have to proceed. Okay. 9 comma 1, you will not stop. Up to 9 comma 0, you will come. Where 9 comma 0 only, B value has become 0. There only you will be stopping it. Okay. Share this file also. Okay, fine. Yes, understand, clear. Yes, sir, understood clearly. Why return 9 is not added? Yes, it is added, right? It is added. So 9 comma 8, no, 9 plus sir, then and is 63. I don't understand. I think I don't understand that. Sir, f of 9 comma 8, no 9 plus sir, then and is 63. I don't understand. See, 9 comma 8, there is no 9 you're saying, right? 9 comma 8. Yes, here is the 9. I'm adding this 63 with the 9 which is available for 9 comma 7. Okay, see here very carefully. Here last time 9 plus 0, 9 will be received by 9 comma 1. This 9 I need to add with this 9, so it become 18 received by 9 comma 2. 18 plus 9, 27 received by 9 comma 3. 27 plus 9, 36 received by 9, 4. 36 plus 9, 45 received by 9, 5. 45 plus 9, 54 received by 9, 6. 54 plus 60 is received by 9, 7. And then 63 plus 9 added 72 received by 9, 8, which is taken as the answer. Okay. So I think it's now it has to be definitely clear. Okay. Okay. Can you explain about the Capgemini pseudocode test? Like how many questions should be correct for qualifying? Yes, about that we will discuss. Okay. First of all, let us finish all this concept. Then I will tell you. Okay. Fine. So can you explain about the Capgemini? Okay. Sir, if you do by stack method, then we should come from top to bottom and bottom to top. Now it should be repeated same as previous problem. Yes, exactly. Okay. Fine. So what is the function of return statement, sir? The function of return statement is taking the value from one activation record to the next activation record. I'll tell you again. I will tell you again. See here, for example, the same thing if it is expressed inside the stack. Okay, suppose if 9, 6, the activation record which is having 9, 6, what is the answer there? 9, 6 is actually receiving a value 54. So 9, 6 is having, for example, if it is having answer 54, receiving answer 54, then 54 is added with 9, 63, and that 63 will return when a return statement is available, a plus function of a comma b minus 1. So 54 plus 9 answer 63. Return statement will take that 63 and we will send it to the next activation record. If return statement is not available, we will not take a data and we will not send it to the next activation record. But if return statement is provided, the data we will take it and we will transfer it to the next activation record. So when there is a return statement, every activation record, a return statement will be executed. So whatever value that we are returning, it will be taken to the next. It will be transferred to the next activation record, and it will finally reach your main activation record. So return statement is used to carry the value to every activation record. Okay, so the return statement is to carry the value to every activation record. So when you write return 54 plus 9, then 63 will be returned to the previous activation record, and this activation record will receive it. It will receive 63 and it will add it with 9, and the resultant value it will return to the next activation record 72. Okay, if again return statement, the 72 will be returned to the next one more return statement, it will be returned to main. So return statement is for carrying a value from one activation area to the next immediate activation area only. We will be using return statement. Okay, fine. So I think now you understood what is return statement will be doing. Okay, and so if the result is absent in the pseudocode, then it would be error, right? Yes. Okay, so now what I will do is I will also send you this file also. I will be sending it to you. I'll just export it as a PDF. Okay, I'll just download it, and also I will just show you. I will just share you this document. Okay, I will just share you. For example, so I will just share you this with recursion. Okay, recursion 1. Okay, recursion _1.pdf. I will be sending you. Okay. So this is a law. I think same document is downloading. Yeah, same document only, but it will be added. Okay. See the document downside, it will be having the new thing that I'm adding, because same PDF. I mean same file, same board only I'm writing. Top side you will be having the previous one. Bottom side. So you have to scroll down. You have to scroll down to see this actually. Okay. Fine. So is there any doubts regarding recursion so far, students? Because I just wanted to know that. Okay, a lot of questions. Okay, sir, I think we are running out of time with many topics remaining to be discussed. The session is not only for today. Today I have taken recursion in hand, and I have to make sure that I have conveyed recursion to the best to you. If today recursion is over, tomorrow I will start with the linked list. Tomorrow I start with the linked list, and I will also try to finish stack. So stack 1 hour, linked list says, or linked list 1 hour, stack 1 hour. The next day queue 1 hour. And tree will be taking for 1 day. Heap I will be taking for 1 hour, and I will be taking graph for 1.5 day. This is a plan exactly. So today I made, because if you want to understand graph and all the other data structure, recursion is very, very important for that. And also in Capgemini, 2 to 3 questions are asked from recursion. And queue stack, there will be like one question or two questions, like from data structures, there will be, like from every topic, there are at least one question coming in. So combining recursion with the data structure, expect up to 10 questions. Then when it is coming to algorithm, you might expect up to 14 to 15 questions. Totally. So about this contribution of from which topic, how many questions, from like from which question, how many topics, and how much time, how many marks you have to, how much cutoff should be. All these things I will discuss in the upcoming classes also, right? Loop versus recursion performance. See, loop will be very efficient when it is coming to memory, because there is no activation record which will be created. Multiple activation record will not be created. Only one activation record for main will be created. For every loop variable, it's not one more activation record will not be created. So when activation areas are not creating, you will be using less memory when it's coming to loop. So loop will be taking less memory comparing recursion. So recursion will be taking more memory. But when it's coming to execution time, I would tell you that the recursion time complexity, I think comparing the normal loop, it will be a little bit better, because it is having both ascending phase and descending phase. So if you want to do both the forward phase and the backward phase, loop you have to do two different iterations. But there is no need of doing two iteration here in recursion, because the same iteration will take you from bottom to top of the stack and again from top to bottom. So two things you are doing vice versa, right? So I would say just that time oriented, it is recursion best. Memory oriented, it is loop is the best one. You have to, Pavitra, the present PDF, you have to scroll down. You have to scroll down to check that new document. Yeah, you have to scroll down the document actually. I will just open this document and then just show you. Okay, only one page is available, right? Yeah, yes. I have to find only one page. Okay, 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, I think now in this document it is available. I will send you this document now. I will just send you this document now. Recursion _ 2.pdf. I will be sending it now. See, once we finish with stack queues, or once we finish with stacks, queues, linked list, and also for stack queue, linked list, also time complexity simultaneously we will discuss. Okay, and yeah, so after doing that only we will be doing it. See, about the timing of the class, we will be informing you shortly. Okay, so yeah, that's it. And one more thing that I have to like show you is that. Like I will just show you for a few of you who just asked me about the Udemy course. Actually, I'm just having 5 Udemy courses along. I mean, I'm just having 5 Udemy courses under my name actually. So let me come here to my public profile. Okay, so coming to my courses, I'm just offering courses like Advanced C Programming, which completely like deals with recursion and matrix and bit manipulation oriented topics. If you see, there are complete of 15 hours of content for recursion alone. There is 12 hours 5 minutes of content only for recursion. I'm having how to find the time complexity of a recursive code, about the type of recursion, indirect recursion, tree recursion, and also as many problems that we can discuss from the scratch to advanced. Okay, also all those things that I have discussed. Okay, here in the course that I'm offering through Udemy. And the next course that I'm offering through Udemy is Mastering Java Programming and Mastering Data Structure using C. I'm offering, and also deep dive into algorithm, where this is actually taken by this is a deep dive into algorithm. This particular course is actually taken by people from America, from London, Italy, Canada, Mexico. So people from abroad, or many people from abroad, are taking this course very seriously, because like I'm just still updating the course, backtracking, dynamic programming, range query, graph algorithms. There are, apart from this, there are many algorithms that I'm just updating it day by day. And I think this is a deep dive into algorithm that is coming to mastering data structure using C. We have linked list, stack, queue, everything in place. Okay, advanced C, we are completely with the recursion and bit manipulation. Okay, and also I'm going to update with the matrix and something Java programming. And also I'm just planning of doing data science like courses, and many more courses I'm doing. So if you want to take these courses, you can just visit this link. You will be able to visit these 4 courses. You can just click on this courses. And actually, if anybody have plan of buying it, okay, if you are having any plan of buying it, you can just contact me for, if you want any discounts to be if you want to receive any discounts, you can just call me. Actually, I will also post my number here in the chat box. Any doubts also, you can just feel free to contact me in this number. I have just posted my number, and also the Udemy link also I have provided. Okay, so fine. Yeah, I will try to change the time. Okay, I will try to change my time. I will speak with the team, and I will come back, because also want to speak with the college also, and also I will try to change the time also. Fine, I've just posted my number along that Udemy course link. If it is required, just if it is required, you can okay, if it is required, you can just contact me. Okay, and you can take it. Okay, the rewatch link of today's session I will send after once the session is completed. I will send you that. Okay, fine. So next, trying to change times, or if you don't mind, yeah, fine. I'll definitely change the timing. Actually, it's better to keep in daytime, sir. Okay, fine. I will definitely speak about that to the team, and I will tell you 8 to 10 a.m. Definitely, I'm not comfortable with it. Okay, 8 a.m. I cannot. I have to wake up by 6, 7. I have to get ready. No, I'm not going ready with 8 to 10. But I'll make some alternative. Okay, fine. Okay, I'll just try to extend the timing also. Yes, as Satish is saying, I'll try to extend the time, and also we will we'll change the time also. Okay, fine. So I think now the time is actually we have 12 minutes in hand. Okay, we have 12 minutes in hand. In 12 minutes, what we will do is we'll take the same program. We'll take it type it in editor, and we will try to find the output of the file. Okay, we'll try to find the output. So we'll take the file, and the name of the file, let me take it as recursion_1.c. Okay, so the file is going to be #include stdio.h. It is going to be integer main function, where I'm going to take integer a equal to 8 and b is equal to 9. I'm going to call the function func, and the parameters I'm going to pass is a and b value. I'm going to pass it. Now coming here to stdio.h inside here, I will be taking an integer function called as func, which is going to take 2 parameters, integer a, integer b. Okay, and I will be checking if a less than b. I will be doing a recursive call func, and I'll be passing b comma a, invert b, a comma b value, right? Then I will be checking else if it is b not equal to 0. If b not equal to 0, I will be just simply calling func of I will be just simply passing a comma b minus 1. Then I will just send in the else part, we will be returning with 0. Here also we should return this. Am I right? So we will be returning func. Here also we will play. Why this return statement we are specifying? Because all the data that we are going to calculate, we have to send it to the next activation record. So then only it can reach the main function. The answer can reach main function, or else it cannot reach main function. Okay, so it will go in the air. It will go in the air. It will not reach main function. So the answer we will receive it with the help of a variable c, and we will print the value of c. Printf, we want to print the value of c, comma c. Okay, so now what we will do is we will just first of all we will execute it. Then we can just then we can go for the line by line process. Okay, so I'm just going to execute recursion_1.c. No syntax error. Let us go with hello. 0 getting printed. I think what we have done here is sorry. Here what we have to do is a plus, right? The function call is a plus func of a comma b minus 1. Okay. So now we will go for compilation test. Can you able to see the answer is 72? First of all, whatever answer that we found is the same right answer. That's the first thing. Okay, now we will go line by line for the 10 minutes left that we have, and we will complete recursion in this particular section. Okay, so anything that you want to refer about recursion hereafter, with the knowledge that you have now, you can go and you can take many recursive programs, sit, take pen and paper, start writing, start taking a stack, start tracing out line by line, check whether you are able to find the output of every recursion code correctly. At least take 20 recursive code and do this process. I will just assure you that if you take 20 problem, 20 recursive code, predict the output of it by drawing the stack, tracing it, then definitely any recursive code you will be able to easily find what is the output. Okay, fine. Now we will start the line by line process here. We'll start the line by line process. Fine. See here, inside we have ABC, for which the main activation record is created, and inside which we have ABC. Now A is equal to 8, B is equal to 9. Now I will be calling a function func for which an activation record will be created here, and we are entering A less than B, condition true, 8 less than 9. So I enter inside and I recursively call func of B comma A, where your A will become 9 and B will become 8. One more activation record is created on top of it. Now A less than B is a false condition, else if B not equal to 0 is a true condition. So I will enter inside and recursively I will call A plus func of A comma B minus 1. So A, okay, A adding we cannot see here. Okay, A adding, how it is adding that we cannot see here. But the recursive call, but what we are doing, A comma B minus 1. So A will remain 9, but B will become 7. Can you able to see here? 9 comma 7. Okay, then again you go else if true, enter inside, again you make a recursive call, it will become 9 comma 6. Again you go to else if, condition true, enter, make a recursive call 9 comma 5. Okay, again you go to else if, again you go 9 comma 4. Else if, again 9 comma 3. Else if, enter 9 comma 2. Go to else if, enter inside, again you go to 9 comma 1, because in the recursive call you are decrementing the value of B. A remains the same, that's why B is getting decremented every time. Again you go inside, B value decremented, now your B becomes 0. So A less than B, false. B not equal to 0, false. Come to else, return 0. What will happen now? So you see the topmost activation area, we are going to return 0. Return 0 means it has to reach the next activation record, where because of this recursion call only you are returning this 0, right? So receive 0 instead of this function call and add it with the A value. What is the resultant A value? 9. So now after the return 0 is executed, you come after the last line. Okay, after return 0, return execute. When after return statement is executed, you come to the last line, because return is skipping all the lines after that. Return statement will not allow you to execute any number of line after that. So when a return is executed, suddenly you will come to the close curly braces of. So after that, you enter into the next function, where A plus function of A comma B. This is done. Okay, so 1 plus 9, 0 plus 9, 9. Okay, so now this process, so you're now see here, you're coming back, all the activation records are getting deleted one by one, and your values that we saw there will be calculated, and finally when you receive 9 comma 8, now that's a see 9 comma 8. Now finally you come to the last activation area having 8 comma 9. Now whatever value that you have like written, that value will be written to the main function, and it will be stored in the C, where all the overall value that we calculated from the recursive function is 72, which we receive in C and stored it, and now we are printing that C value, which is 72. So whatever I have taught you, creation of stack, deletion of stack, everything same process, nothing different. Okay, fine. So I think hope now everything is come to, after printing C, everything is come to end, so you finish the process. Right? Fine. Okay, so students, there is okay, so whatever I need to convey, I have already clarified it. Okay, whatever I need to clarify, I have clarified everything. So recursion is the today's target, and I have completed recursion today. Okay, so we have come to the session of today. Tomorrow we will continue with linked list, stack, and queue. We will be starting with. Okay, then we will go to tree, heap, and graph, and also we will enter into algorithms in the later part. Okay, you'll go to the algorithms in the later part. Okay, fine. So students, I'm going to end up the session. If you have anything clarification that you want to do, you can just do it now. Attendance is not taken now. Attendance means if you're attending the session, your name and the time that you're inside the session will be automatically recorded by the platform that you're inside, Webinar Jam. Okay, so